Have you ever felt like you're just running on a financial treadmill? You're pushing hard, you're saving what you can, but that first big milestone, it just seems impossibly far away. Well, you are definitely not alone. There is a very real reason that your first $100,000 is the toughest financial mountain you'll ever climb. So let's get into it. Yeah, this journey from zero to your first six figures in investments, this is where most people really struggle. It's this long period defined by sacrifice, by discipline, and frankly, what feels like painfully slow progress. It really is the financial equivalent of pushing a giant boulder uphill with all your might. So the big question is why? Why is this specific milestone so grueling? And maybe more importantly, what is the magic that happens after you hit that number that makes the next 100,000 and the one after that feel so much easier? We're going to pull back the curtain on exactly what's working against you at the start and what starts working for you later on. So let's talk about these headwinds you're up against. In the beginning, it's not just a numbers game. It is a full-on psychological battle, too. This right here breaks down the internal enemies that we all have to fight on the path to that first 100K. First, you've got instant gratification, that little voice in your head that wants the new phone right now instead of investing for later. Then there's loss aversion, which is this weird quirk where the fear of losing $100 feels way more intense than the joy of gaining $100. And then, of course, procrastination, the ultimate killer of wealth, always whispering, you can start next month. These aren't just financial mistakes. They're human nature, and they make that initial grind so tough. And then you've got this sneaky one, lifestyle inflation, or lifestyle creep. You get a raise, right? And suddenly you feel like you deserve a nicer apartment, a fancier car, more dinners out. It's like this silent thief that steals your potential savings, because instead of banking the difference, you just expand your lifestyle to fit your new, bigger paycheck. And this chart, well, it just lays it all out in black and white. This shows the real-world result of all those early struggles. You can see the average retirement balance for younger folks is pretty low. Sure, it grows in the next decade, but it still takes the average person a really long time to finally cross that $100,000 mark. Those early years are just a slow grind. Man, this quote from a user on Reddit just perfectly captures the feeling. The initial effort is immense. It is all about your own brute force, your savings, your discipline, just to get that massive, heavy train to start rolling. But once it has momentum, everything changes. And that brings us to the magic moment, the tipping point. This is the moment when you're no longer the only one pushing that boulder. Suddenly, you have this powerful, invisible ally working right alongside you. And that ally is compound interest. The concept is actually pretty simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It's not just your initial money-earning returns, it's your returns that start earning their own returns. This creates this amazing feedback loop that starts off small, but becomes an absolutely unstoppable force over time. You've probably heard this before, but the classic snowball analogy is just perfect for a reason. At the very top of the hill, it's tiny. You can barely even see it grow. But as it rolls, it picks up more snow, getting bigger and faster. And the bigger it gets, the more snow it collects with each rotation. Your first $100,000 is you building that initial snowball by hand and giving it that first big shove. To really get your head around the explosive power here, look at the famous story of the rice and the chessboard. A king offers a wise man a reward, just 1 grain of rice on the first square, then doubled on every square after that. It starts small, right? 1, 2, 4, 8 grains. But by the time you get to the 64th square, the king owed over 18 quintillion grains of rice. That is the shocking, almost unbelievable power of exponential growth. So here's the difference in a nutshell. With simple interest, your initial 10 grand earns the same amount year after year. It's just a straight line. But with compound interest, that same 10 grand earns interest, and then that new, slightly larger amount earns even more interest the next year. The growth curve just bends upwards, getting steeper and steeper over time. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's check out some real journeys that people have shared. Okay, take a look at this. This person started back in 1993. It took them 4 years of pure grit to hit their first $100,000. That's almost entirely their own savings, doing the work. But the second $100,000, only 2 years. Why? Because now it's their savings plus the market's growth, doing the heavy lifting. Yeah, the dot-com crash slowed them down for a bit, but that pattern of acceleration is crystal clear. And here's an even crazier example. This investor took 4 years to hit their first 100K. Then, get this, the next 100K took just 1 year. And then the next $200,000 also took just 1 year. That first milestone was all their effort. The next $300,000 was their money's effort. At this point, the snowball is absolutely flying down the hill. As one Reddit user who went through this firsthand put it, pretty bluntly but perfectly, the snowball effect is real F. This isn't some financial myth. It's a mathematical reality that people are experiencing every single day. So what's the fuel for this snowball? Well, historically, it's the consistent growth of the market. Since 1998, for example, the Dow Jones has returned an average of 8.7% a year. Sure, some years are down, some are way up, but that consistent average return over time, that's the engine that powers compounding. So you're probably thinking, great, I get it. Now how do I actually do this? How do you get through that initial grind and start building your own snowball? Let's break it down into some real actionable steps. It really all boils down to a simple 3-part strategy. Number 1, you've got to focus on maximizing your income, whether that's in your main career or with side hustles. 2, and this is absolutely crucial, you have to actively fight that lifestyle creep we talked about. And 3, invest consistently, month after month, no matter what the market is doing. So what does investing actually look like? Well, this is just an example, of course, not personal advice, but a pretty common strategy is a diversified portfolio. You might have a big chunk in stocks for that long-term growth, some in real estate for cash flow, and then other assets like bonds to provide a little stability. The key is just to have your money in different places, all working together to grow over time. And to make all this happen, you need to build powerful habits. Try to save an aggressive chunk of your income, 20% or even more if you can swing it. You have to automate your investments so the money moves without you even thinking about it. Here's a great trick. Immediately allocate 100% of any raise or bonus to your investments before you even get used to spending it. And finally, track your progress. Seriously, seeing those numbers go up is a huge motivator. And this might be the most important takeaway of all. The reason the first 100K is so important isn't just about the number. It's about the person you have to become to get there. The discipline, the patience, the financial habits you have to forge during that initial climb, those are the very skills that are going to carry you to $1 million and way beyond. So ultimately, that first $100,000 isn't the finish line. It's the starting line. Think of it as the price of admission to the compounding game. It's the exact point where you shift from pure grinding effort to gaining real powerful momentum. Think of it this way. Your first $100,000 is the entry fee. After you pay it, your money starts playing the game right alongside you. So the real question is, are you ready to do what it takes to pay that fee and get in the game?